Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 58. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Action Target. This week I have with me Chad Wallace in the house. How's it going, Chad?
Oh, it's going pretty good. How about you, Ryan?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Did you do anything in guns this week?
I think about all I did was I polished a trigger on an AR-15.
Nice. I didn't. What exactly do you polish? Just the sear?
The sear and the hammer, just where they catch together.
Was it a single stage?
Yeah, it was just a stock trigger.
Nice. Did it help at all?
It helped a lot. It's still long, but it takes all the grittiness out of it. It seems to make a pretty good difference.
Nice. I think I might have to try that on one of mine. I've done that what do they call it, the 25-cent Glock trigger job, where you just polish some of the surfaces inside the slide where all the safety mechanism points hit each other, so that there's less friction, and I think that helped a little bit, but not enough really for me to notice. But yeah, that's interesting to do it on an AR-15 trigger.
Yeah, and then I bobbed the hammer too on it for faster lock time. You can get reduced springs, and then you still got some speed for the firing pin.
Nice. Yeah, what I've been doing is I've been looking for some Christmas stuff before Black Friday craziness happens. I did find a Mosin Nagant 9130 for a good price, or what I would consider a good price. So after many years of just not getting one because used prices were just outrageous, and I've been kind of looking for an M44, like the shorter version, this whole time, because I got two friends that have 9130s, and just the length of it seemed kind of comical to me. So I was never interested in the 9130s, even though those are the easiest ones to get and the cheaper usually. But I found a pretty nice looking, clean stock one, 1943. So I picked it up. I think it's a Century Arms. I still have to look up what factory it's from, but I finally own a moist nugget. So I picked up a spam can or two of ammo, and finally have one of those in my collection. And I'm not too much into it, so that's kind of cool. But you would not believe the amount of people that told me right off the bat, "Oh, you need to get that Archangel stock." It's like, I'm not putting plastic on this Russian warhorse. Like, it's gonna stay the way it is. I might like strip the stock and re-stain it and do some True Oil on it, but that's it. So.
Yeah, I still haven't got into those. I should have bought one when they were, $79.95 or something, but such is life. I figured I'd do something else with my money.
Yeah, well, I figured a lot of people are saying that it's not coming in as much, and so the prices are going to go up because of the whole Russian trade changes this year. So I figured that pressure was on. I might as well get one while I can, and I'll hold on to it down the road. And it just might be a fun plinker. Cheap to shoot. Pretty much, it's a poor man's 30-06. That's about the length of a telephone pole.
So you can.
That's pretty much. That's all I did in guns this week. I wanted to read through some announcements. Of course, this is going to be a microcast, so it's going to be a lot shorter than what we usually have on the show. Just with the holidays and from traveling that's coming up, I'm taking an extra day off to beat the traffic, so it wasn't going to be able to work Tuesday or Wednesday, so we're doing a microcast today. We're only going to cover a couple products. There's no reviews. I just haven't had time to do any new reviews, and I told Chad to save his for the next episode. But I do want to get into some announcements. So first of all, I want to announce the winner of the Negrini handgun case giveaway that we've been having. So thank you to everybody that sent in did iTunes reviews. It really helps out the channel or the podcast. I think we're up to like 34 or 35 reviews, and for the most part they're pretty good, but everyone's kind of really honest, so I really appreciate that. At the end of the show I'll read some of the later reviews. But anyway, so we did a random generation lottery to determine the winner, and the winner of the Negrini handgun, the Negrini compact handgun case, which I have right here. We've done 2 reviews on them already for the Firearms Insider. Great, sexy handgun case. So the winner is Call Me Big Daddy is his username, and his real name's AJ Stone. So AJ, congratulations. If you'd like to, I'll email you and let you know that it's being sent out to you. So, but everyone gets consolation prizes. Negrini sent me some awesome stickers that are pretty good quality vinyl, so I will be sending out those to everyone else as kind of a consolation. So thank you everyone for participating, and we'll be sure to have another giveaway probably like around Christmas time, because 'tis the season. So
Yeah,
thanks.
congratulations, AJ. As last week they said, what was that guy's name?
I don't remember, but there was 2 funny names. I think
I
Call Me Big Daddy was one of them.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And even Chad, didn't you win something first? Have you won
No,
something? Okay.
I haven't won anything, and I'm long past disqualified for anything.
Okay, good. Because we've had some listeners come on the show that have won stuff before, so I was trying to just uh, kick my memory, but it's failing me right now. Another announcement is I've actually got some listener feedback that I think is really important. Um, this would fall into the category of hate mail. Well, not hate mail. What's worse is it's like, well, the subject of it is disappointed, which is so much worse than hate. Like, I wish they said like I hate you instead of disappointed, because it hurts. It cuts so much more deeper. But last episode we talked about 2 handguns on the podcast, and we had Sam Asner and we had Nick from Practically Tactical podcast, and then we also had TJ for a little bit. So first off, we talked about the Springfield XD, the Mod 2, and I guess that they've had about a week. My panelists had about a week to look at the news. Everyone was kind of up on it, and they've read about it, and they didn't have a lot of positive things to say right off the bat. There, a lot of kind of more or less not what positive things can I say about it, or versus how many jokes can I make about the grip zone and the different features that Springfield has added on there. But it was kind of along the lines of what we usually our tone is. But then we got to the Taurus curve, and we were pretty ruthless on that. And I'm not apologizing for our opinions that we expressed on the show, but I am sort of regretful on how the format kind of got off track so fast. Like right off the gate, it was just Taurus bashing, and I tried to rope it in, but I think I participated in it a little bit because I'm not a big fan of Taurus either. But like we say at the beginning of the podcast, we're supposed to evaluate these things objectively and unbiased, and I think we let some of our Taurus hatred, or just the rumors and the things that we've read on the internet that Taurus's quality control on certain guns was really bad and kind of dangerous at one point. And I'm sure that they've taken steps to improve those processes, but stigma is really strong still on the internet. So on this show, I'd like to talk about a product and present all the features, and then let the panelists get into it. and they're free to express their opinions. I'm not a puppeteer. I don't got my hand up Nick and Sam's. Anyway, so they said what they said, and I'm not apologizing for that. But I think that we were a little quick to jump the gun on all that, and I didn't try hard enough to rope them in right off the bat. So I am sort of apologizing for that because, of course, we want to be professional, and that didn't start off very professional. I think they said something about like what were the Brazilians on acid when they made this. It's an American-made firearm, and Taurus is kind of based out of Brazil, but it was kind of those uneducated, like offhand comments that maybe ruffled some people's feathers. And if you love Tauruses and you swear by them, that's great for you. That's fabulous. In fact, I'd love to have you on the show and do a review on your Taurus because I think not enough, excuse me, not enough Taurus fans are speaking out louder than the Taurus haters out there. So I got this email from a guy named Lawrence, and he kind of brought me up on all this, and I know that different podcasts have different formats, and I know I've listened to other podcasts that kind of held the same feelings about, oh, it looks gimmicky, it's too much of a shift to the paradigm, a handgun that won't go in a holster, that's curved, how's it going to shoot straight, no sights, how are you going to be accurate, but we're all about new products that are pushing the envelope, and this is definitely out of the envelope for Taurus. So hats off to them. We should have been a little bit more discretionary in how much fun we were poking at Taurus's expense. So anyway, that being said, we're going to try and be more professional in the future and save some of the rib jabbing toward the end of that product spotlight. So, I covered that pretty well. Did you listen to the last episode, Chad?
I did, actually. The funny part is I just listened to it today, and yeah, I it kind of resembled other podcasts for a second or two, but yeah, I think you covered that well. I'd throw in my 2 cents on the curve. It's innovative, and if I saw one, I'd want to shoot it just to see what it's like shooting left-handed.
Yeah. I think what we should have probably done is before we went live, talked about it, like just kind of like water cooler chat and get all the jokes and scoffing at it out of the way, and then tried to reel it back a little bit when we actually talked about it on the show. So, other than that, the XD, I didn't say too much about it, but my first handgun that I ever bought myself was the original XD, not the HS 2000 from Ukraine, but the original XD from Springfield Armory, and I loved it. I sold it because I got some 1911s. I didn't need another polymer framed 45. I started getting into Glocks, so I've got no qualms with Springfield. As far as their polymer pistol line, they kind of are going off in their direction, and hats off to them. So I think that we just all got too excited about kind of sharing our personal opinions on a new product when we didn't really give it a fair shake, especially to a listener that maybe never even heard of the Curve until they started listening to our podcast. And dear Lord, like we totally skewed their opinions right off the bat, right out of the gate, and that's not how this is supposed to work. So that's what I'm trying to say. So other than that, let's get right into this show. Actually, no, one more announcement. The next couple shows, I'm going to be asking for some user feedback, and you can leave that by sending me an email by podcast@firearmsradio.tv or cross@firearmsradio.tv or podcast@firearmsinsider.tv. And the question is, Christmas is coming up. Black Friday is just this week. What products do you have on your wish list? And I'm throwing in the addition of they can be fictional products. and don't get too crazy, but I'm saying if there's something that you wish would have been released this year and you would have been interested in buying, what that would have been. Because I've got a handful in my head that I'm like, man, I wish so-and-so would release this product or create this product because it would be really useful and I would buy it. So for my best example I can come off with right off the top of my head is I wish Magpul, now that they're making steel backup iron sights, they're not just a, a polymer company. They're not just using DuPont plastic for everything. They're starting to play with steel. Make bottom metal for popular bolt-action rifles. Remington 700, Savage. When people buy a bolt-action rifle and it's got an internal box magazine, the first expensive modification they usually do is they want to be able to use detachable box magazines, especially Remington 700. Now, what are the best magazines in the market besides, like, for bolt-action rifles, it's Accuracy International magazines. Those are super expensive for what they are, and they're kind of the what everyone is compared to, you know, like, oh, that magazine's okay, but it's not an Accuracy International mag. What if Magpul were to make a bottom metal that would allow you to use a PMag with your bolt-action rifle? So if you got a Remington, it's a 223 or a 300 Blackout. You know, you'd be able to use PMags in whatever size, the 5 rounds, the 10 rounders. Now, I'm not a gunsmith, so I don't know exactly if that's impossible or not. I'm just thinking in my head, that'd be really nice. Even like their Magpul's AR-10 magazines, you know, 308, that would certainly open up the possibilities. I don't know if you'd be able to chamber additional rounds in that 308 pattern magazine that would fit, because obviously everything else is going to be longer than the 308 round because it's a pretty short rifle cartridge actually. But that would sure be peachy if they would get right on that, because I would really appreciate that. So that's just one example. If you guys have a product that just came out that you've been wanting or looking at, let us know either on Facebook, the Firearms Insider Facebook page, or send an email to either of those two addresses. And if it's something completely out of the blue that you wish, like Ruger would make a Mark III in 22 Magnum, that would be an example. Do you have anything fictitious you can come up with off the top of your head, Chad?
Oh yeah. I thought about this for a second. It didn't take me long. And because, you know, I like gadgets, I want some scope manufacturer to make like a 1-to-4 or a 1-to-6 power scope that isn't really variable. It's more like it has like a 1 power and a 4 power. And then I just want a button, maybe electronic, that switches between the two, like almost instant. So
that actually exists. Actually, I was kind of saving it for the It's pretty new. I was gonna save it for the tech gadget or app section. Basically, I'll bring it up on like the next episode for the tech gadget or app segment. But
see.
as I understand how it works, is that the scope functions much like the eye, to where like the lens inside is kind of gets longer and shorter when you toggle the button, so you can go from 1 power to 4 power at like a flick of a switch, and so it's like, you know, bam, bam.
Right.
So I'll have a better example and be more knowledgeable in that scope on the next episode, but letting you know that is out there.
Well, see, I looked for it on Google, and I guess I didn't look hard enough. But yeah, I thought something like that would be really cool. And, you know, that's about what I had. I'm like, oh, that would be pretty sweet. And of course, so somebody does it. So, you know, if they did it
I mean, it's really in the research and development stage right now, so you're not missing out on anything quite yet.
Yeah, I figured if they did it with electronics too, then you could have a remote button you could maybe put like on your forearm or wherever, so your button's right where your hand is, kind of like a pressure light switch or something.
Mm-hmm.
make it
Yeah,
kind of
we'll
cool.
we'll talk about that on the next episode. I'm glad you brought that up. So let's get right into the new product spotlight. We're only going to cover two things this week just to keep things short and speedy. So first off, we're going to cover the Magpul offset backup iron sights, but they're the pros. You know, the all steel versions that they came out with earlier. So now they have an offset version, and there's both a front and a rear. And I think people are pretty much going crazy for these. So I imagine this is probably going to be like number one on people's wish list if you own an AR-15 and you're running an optic, you know, without a quick detached mount, and you like to have offset iron sights that are affordable and reliable. I've got a pair that are just, you know, aluminum. I think they were super cheap. I think they were like 25 bucks for this set, and they don't flip up. They're fixed, and these would be a much better option. I don't really use them all that much actually, but so anyway, Magpul has got these. They are $190 for the whole set. Separately, you can get them separately if you want. If the rear is $105 and the front is $85, but you can get the set for $190. Brownells is actually taking pre-orders on them right now. So if you're interested in them, go to Brownells and you can pre-order them. The price is actually a little bit under. So the rear is pre-ordering for $99.70 and the front is pre-ordering for $80.70. I don't see the set on there, so still, you know, you should come out on top be getting them separately, but you'll want to get in there before the pre-order is over and they've reached their limit. I don't know if there is one or not. Have you seen the pros yet? Have played with them at the store at all?
I have not seen the pros, the regular ones, or of course these aren't out yet. But I've talked to a few people that had them, and they seem to like them pretty good. Uh, I was reading the description of these offset ones, and I like how they're adjustable. They actually have either a windage knob or the front one has an elevation knob, so you don't need anything special. You can just turn it. Uh, that's always nice. Uh, I I like offset sights for like three gun and stuff like that. I I kind of like dots, but for 190 bucks, this is probably a really good option.
Yeah,
Because when you're shooting something 10 yards away, you don't need anything fancy for this huge targets they let you shoot.
yeah. Yeah, at first I thought they were looked to stand a little tall, you know, because when you rotate the stock 45 degrees, you know, it seemed like they're sat kind of tall compared to some of the other ones, or at least the ones that I have that are supposed to be close to their non-offset counterparts. But I think that it's going to be really handy for the whole fold-down thing. I mean, yeah, you could get just 45-degree offset Picatinny mounts and then go out and buy the cheaper Gen 2 plastic backup iron sights and put them on there. I thought about doing that once, but you'd be into more money than this option because you got to buy the two mounts. You know, what are the mounts going to be like $20, $30 a piece? And then, you know, you're over like $120 for the sets for the sights. This is going to be probably a better option overall. All one piece. They use a durable melanited steel construction. So the steel is really good. It's been treated in melanite. It's got a positive detent lockup when it's deployed. Like you said, it's toolless for adjusting, and it's going to be really low profile as far as when you fold them down. They are a little longer though, so I'm not really used to seeing fold down iron sights that like the rear folds back pretty far. So you'd want to have that actually seated not all the way to the rear because it might interfere with your charging handle if you don't have like some kind of tactical latch on your charging handle, and you're pulling equally from both the left and right hand side, that folded rear sight might get in the way of that, depending on where you have that placed. So that's something to keep in mind. They're still pretty cool. Hats off to Magpul, because I haven't seen them put out anything that I wasn't kind of impressed with, or kind of like, oh wow, I wonder if I'm going to need that in the future. The one thing though that I don't like is the aperture on the rear. It's kind of default set to the smaller peep, and then you have to flip open to get the bigger peep. And I kind of wish it was the other way around. I wish by default it was the bigger peep, and then you had to do the secondary option of flipping up that or flipping down to get the smaller peep, because I think that if you're going to use them, like, it's preferred that you have the larger peep, and then when you're shooting farther out, kind of slower, you'd want the smaller peep to let in, or just change the range that you're shooting. Smaller peeps are better for longer ranges. Bigger apertures are better for closer up, quicker encounters. So that's my only qualm about them, is I hate just flipping down the little thing every single time,
Yeah,
or else you just leave it flipped down the entire time, which snags on stuff. But that's my only qualm about that.
yeah, I would want it the way you were talking about. That's especially since they're a backup and you're probably going to use them at a closer range. So the big aperture when you flip them up. The other thing I would like, it doesn't say they're not spring loaded, are they?
No, they're not.
Yeah, that
I
would
don't.
that would be pretty cool too if you just had to push a button and get them to flip up.
No, you gotta flip them up by hand.
Yeah, yeah, that's the only thing I could complain about. I like the auto flip up ones, but hey, what do you expect? It's revision number one, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, like Troy puts out really nice flip up iron sights, and they're not really quick deployed anyway.
Yeah,
So it just seems like something with steel that, if it's going to increase the reliability to not have it spring loaded, to where that's something that's moving that can wear out over time, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'd rather have it last a lifetime than wear out prematurely because I was, springing them up constantly.
you were sitting here on a podcast, pushing the little button, folding them back down, pushing the little button like that, and
Yeah,
have them wear out.
yeah, I would wear it out. It's fun to do. I do it with the Gen 2 M buses, the plastic ones, but I definitely wouldn't want to abuse it. But anyway, if
Yeah,
you're interested in those, go on over to Magpul's website. It'd be under products and then MBUS sites, and then go on over to Brownells and pre-order if you're interested. They'll be available, should be, hopefully before the Christmas season, so you might be able to pick them up at your box stores that usually have a big old Magpul section. So next up is actually something I've been looking at personally quite a few times, and I just haven't made up my mind on whether or not to get it or not. And it's a ammo can. Resembles a safe. It's big and heavy like a safe. It's got a safe door, but it's not a safe. It's a very, I guess, just ruggedized ammo cabinet. But they're calling it just an ammo can, and it's got a vinyl sticker on the front of it, vinyl lettering that says ammo can. And it's got a nice little crosshair in the O. I guess that's what caught my eye as a graphic designer. I'm like, oh, sweet logo. What's that? So what it is, it's a 11 cubic foot capacity cabinet. It's got fixed shelves. It's got 3 shelves that are fixed. They're not adjustable. They're made out of fireboard. Each one can hold up to 125 pounds of ammunition. I would really be hesitant to put on more than 100 pounds, because if they break, you've got to somehow fix it yourself, get some plywood and whatnot, and cut out something else. So the space between each shelf is 13.5 inches, and as far as the width on the inside, 22 inches, and it's 14 inches deep. So if you were looking at getting a very small gun safe, the smallest ones that they have that you can put long guns in, they were kind of really just narrow. You don't have a whole lot of shelf space for ammo. Like, you'd fill it up pretty quickly, especially if you reload like I do. So I was kind of interested in it. I'm like, man, I could put a lot of ammo in here. Got a lot of room for growth. There's a picture depicting the inside of it, and it's got USGI green, the all OD green ammo cans in there, and he's got looks like 5 of the smaller ones, 5.56 ones, kind of all on one shelf, and he's got another one where it's got 2 of the bigger 7.62 size ones with 2 of the smaller ones. And then he's got some gunpowder in there for reloading and some more ammunition. It just looks like you could fit a lot of stuff in there, and it's got some fireboard in there. But it's not fire rated because it's not a safe. So they don't put a fire rating on it because they're not required to rate it. It's a gun cabinet. They don't need to fire rate it at all. It does come with a 5-year limited warranty against manufacturer's defects. It does not include Liberty's fire or attempted break-in replacement warranty, and it does not have. I guess Liberty does install 1 layer of fireboard that's fabric covered to support the shelving. So it does have that. I asked some guys. They were comparing just how much fireboard is in there compared to the lowest quality safes, not quality, but the lowest price safes that also had 1 layer, and those were fire rated for 30 minutes at tops. So they were kind of estimating, well, okay, if this was fire rated, it might be 30 minutes, maybe not, maybe a little bit less, depending on the temperature of the fire. But it doesn't have a handle on it or anything like that. It opens up from the key. It looks like a tubular key, and it is right in the center of the door. So you turn to unlock it, and then that would be kind of the point you grab on to open the door. I didn't really care for that. I wish it had some sort of handle, because that point over time, the tolerances can loosen up, and all of a sudden your key's not working or not locking it secure. I don't know. It doesn't use actual bars like a normal safe would. It just has 2. What do they call them? They call them military bars.
Yeah, I think that's what they call
2
them.
military style locking bars is what they call it.
It looks like in the picture that it does have a handle, so after you turn the key, it gives you something to pull on. Kind of over there on the left.
I haven't seen one. I was playing with it at the store. Didn't have any handle on it at all.
Maybe
it seemed like, dude, once you turn the key, that's what you use as leverage to open the door.
Jeez. Well, maybe the new ones have it. But yeah, I was just looking at the picture, and it shows some sort of handle, so they must have got some complaints.
Yeah. It does have external hinges, so it lets you open the door 180 degrees. So that might be something you'd be interested in, because if you've got it in a room that's not very big, you'd be able to open the door up all the way so the door's not blocking half the room, or like a closet. So that's one benefit that you might want to look at. But the MSRP is the only thing that's really keeping me from buying this thing. If it was like $300 and under, I would probably have bought one already and be doing a review on it. But it's $400, and that just seems like it's too much money for me for a safe that's not fire rated. And I can't really, I don't know, the whole lock on it, and I guess the reason why they don't fire rate it is because it has, it's not sealed. It does not have a heat expanding door seal. So that means, I guess, if you keep gunpowder in there and bullets, if there was a fire and got hot enough to cook some of that stuff off, hopefully there's enough of a non-seal so that stuff could basically expand and not cause an explosion, because the safe would be so locked up. And there's a lot of people, if you ask, should you keep ammunition and gunpowder, smokeless gunpowder, in a safe? That's going to start a conflict. You might as well ask them what's better, Glock or 1911, because it's going to be one of those arguments where half the people say, oh yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it. Other half will be like, no, you're going to turn your safe into a bomb if you put gunpowder in it. Like, you needed to put it in a cheap, like, ammo cabinet or just regular, like, locker that has room for air to get in and out, so that when it does ignite, it can just burn off and not build up pressure. So I agree with that, but also I'm like, well, if you fireproof it a little bit, make it a little bit more resistant, and it won't cook off so easy. But it's the whole mentality of your house is burning, how hot's it burning, how short is the response time for firefighters. Then again, if you tell them you reload and you've got a bunch of powder in one room, they're going to call everybody out, and they're going to evacuate the neighbors, because once you've told them you have gunpowder in there, I think someone's told me they're going to let it burn, but that's going to start a whole other argument that I don't want to have with anybody. So this will be a great addition to if you have a safe that you have guns in, and if so many guns you don't have room for ammo in that safe, getting this would be nice, because you can have your ammo separated from your guns. I just don't know about the price point. Like, $400 is like halfway to a decent small safe that I could upgrade to, and change the shelving around and have a little bit better features that is fire rated. So it's kind of like, if it was 300 and under, I would have got it already, but just the extra 100, I can't seem to get my wallet to open up for it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd pick one up for that price. Actually, right now I have one of the old, cabinet gun lockers, or just the stamped sheet metal ones that are like $80 downtown, and I just stack ammo in it. And I mean, it doesn't have shelves, so if you want the ammo cans that are on the bottom, you're there for a few minutes unpacking stuff and getting to the ammo you actually want. But it kind of serves the same purpose, because I keep a lot of ammo laying around, it seems like. But it's a good idea. I mean, I really like how it's a good heavy shelves in it, and you can put quite a bit of weight on it. And, I don't know one way or the other if I'd want it fire rated or if I'd want it open. So, my cheap
Yeah.
cabinet is open, so that's what I have. That's what I use. So, but as far as you were saying, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I've got a cheap cabinet. I think I'm going to use that, just because it's something I've already purchased. It was like, under $200 at Walmart. So I think I'm going to use that for my powder and stuff, because if there's a problem, I don't have a sealed, airtight bomb that could cause more property damage, as opposed to just losing several $100 in powder.
yeah.
um, so yeah,
I can't.
I mean, it's as far as the outside quality, it's a really solid cabinet. It's two pieces that have been CNC'd. It's got a 1-inch door. It's a pretty durable and strong safe. Like, I think it's somewhere in the 400 or 500 pound range. I think it's less than
I,
five. I think
I
maybe it's
think it.
about four.
I think it said like
It's
270 empty was what I saw in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 270
Well,
pounds.
I was just basing that on me rocking it back and forth to the store, so that's no accurate way of measuring. And they do say that if you want it to be more discreet and not say ammo can on the front of it, if you're worried about someone breaking into your house and stealing your precious ammunition, stealing the 22 you've been squirreling away for these couple of years, you can remove the decal on the front, and then it just looks like it still looks like a safe, so they're probably still going to target it. So I don't really see the logic in that, but that's something that they do mention, is you can remove that sticker yourself if you don't think it's attractive or you want to put something else there.
Well, I'm thinking
Big
maybe
old
we need
sticker that says, go ahead.
oh we need stickers that say ammo can, and we put them on a regular safe so they don't break into that because they don't want the ammo, they want the guns.
I don't know, man. I mean, if I was a thief, and I'd be looking for 22 long rifle.
Well, I would
I'd be
too,
like,
but I
I've
don't
seen
think.
this guy at the range. He's got a 1022. I know he's squirreling away. He's got some. He's got a couple bricks somewhere. I'm going after it.
Yeah, he's out there every time I go to
But
the
anyway, if you
range
go on over
shooting.
to, yeah, I try and bring extra 22 to the range just in case I see somebody with their kids and they're shooting 22s, and I can just talk to them for a little bit. And if they're pretty nice people, I usually give them an extra box here and there. Just to kind of help them out, because it doesn't seem like anyone does that at the range, so I always try and do that. So anyway, if you're interested in this safe, going over to, I'm sorry, not safe, ammo can't call it a safe. Going over to Liberty's website, www.libertysafe.com, and then look for the safe ammo can safe. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how they call it that. Don't call it a safe, but we have it listed under safes. I'm still not sure 100% if I'm gonna pass on it or not. I have something that I got at Walmart that's it's under $200 investment. There's a couple pieces to it. I got plenty of shelving. It's not airtight, so I'm not gonna have problem with humidity, because whatever the humidity outside the safe, it's gonna be that humidity inside the safe. So as long as it's in a nice, cool, nice dry room. And then if there is a fire, it's not sealed. So I figure I have it. It's less money I have to spend. That's $400 I can spend on a gun or an optic, or actually, I'm trying to find a good, bigger safe to upgrade to. So that's what I'm kind of looking at, Black Friday deals, trying to find who's got safes on sale. So anyway, that's that. So now we're going to get right into the sponsored product spotlight. So Action Target is the bandwidth sponsor for our podcast. If you make sure to click on one of the affiliate links on the firearmsinsider.tv website, or go to firearmsinsider.tv/Action Target, and remember to use the promo code radio15 to get 15% off your order. And they make some phenomenal steel. So 15% off steel that's easily some of the best on the market. And this week we're going to talk about the 45-degree static. I know we've talked about it before, but I'm kind of making my victory lap through all their products. So the 45-degree static is a static target that's got a head plate that's tilted at 45 degrees, which is a little bit more aggressive than targets usually are angled, and this is so you can engage it with higher powered rifles at closer distances and be safe, because the splatter in the lead is going to go down much more drastically than shooting at a more traditional target that's got a lesser of a degree of tilt, and so that splatter is going to go up and over and around. So this is specifically designed for guys that are like into 3-gun, using their carbines and shooting at stuff under 100 yards. So it's AR-550 armor steel. It's got a head plate that's it's an oval, so it's not like a solid circle. And the reason why the head is a 12 by 14 oval is because of the steep angle, which makes it look like a perfectly 12-inch circle from 50 yards. Because of course, if you take a regular circle and you tilt it, it looks like an oval. So they've kind of compensated for that visual illusion, and that's why it's not a perfect circle on the head plate. So most steel targets, even those made, don't stand up well to the power of rifle ammunition when shot within distances closer than 100 yards. So this is designed specifically for that, to deflect that and not like take big old dents in it every time. I don't know if there's a caliber restriction. See, it's capable of handling 223 and 308 and even slugs from only 50 yards. Slugs usually definitely do a number on steel targets at under 50 from 50 yards. If it's a milder steel, you're going to start to see a little bit of cratering because there's just so much mass behind that. Even and especially 223 is known to slice mild steel like butter, and 308's just meant to go through it and onto whatever's behind it. So it's designed for guys that want to train for closer engagements, safer. The head plate is 14 inches tall and 12 inches wide, and the total height of the stand you can choose to have it on 4 different sizes of static stands. Those are the stands that they're static; they don't fold up or anything like that. So you can choose from 1 foot all the way to 4 foot, or you can get it on the Evil Roy practice stand, which is those 3 legs that you can kind of stretch out farther to make it sit lower, or kind of cinch them up closer together so it's a little bit taller, and you've got the luxury of using that interlocking cam system with the handle to be able to carry it a little bit easier. That's what I would recommend personally, but the static stand would probably work just as well. Let's see what else here. So it's designed to bounce when you hit it still, to give you the immediate feedback and positive reinforcement that you hit it. But because of the spread of the feet at the base, it's not going to fall over. It's just going to maybe jump a little bit or rock back a little bit. There's no exposed bolts or clamps or brackets to cause unpredictable splatter or even receive damage if you hit it in the wrong spot. And that's the best thing about Action Target Steel, is they really design this thing kind of from the bore, like from the muzzle perspective, like, okay, we're shooting bullets at this thing, where can we not have, where all the weak points, how can we protect them? And so usually any bolts and whatnot are behind the target head, or hidden. So it's designed to be as flat and low profile as possible and not have any potential Achilles heel in the design at all. So the MSRP is $219, and don't forget to use the promo code Radio15 to get 15% off of that. That's a pretty good deal for a target that is going to work specifically for shooting. You can take your PTR, your AR-10, even your Mossberg 500 and shoot slugs at it at closer range and not have to worry about getting any splashback and catching a ricochet.
Yeah, I noticed also, Ryan, that
So if you're interested in that, go on over.
It said that anything with a muzzle velocity, less than 3,000 feet per second at 50 yards. So, that's what it'll handle. So maybe
that's
not.
Still going to count out. It's still going to count out the 22-250, but
yeah.
I think you'll be safe still with your 308 and your 223.
Yeah, well, it doesn't mention 50 BMG, and that's
300
going
mag,
slower.
depending on what you're loaded.
I think 50 BMG. Yeah.
So it should. I don't know.
Yeah,
That'd
me
be a
neither.
good test. Everything should be tested with a 50 BMG anyway, just because. And I think Richard Ryan with Rated RR, the YouTube channel, he is actually on that mission to shoot most everything with a 50 BMG. So if you're interested in those, go on over to store.actiontarget.com, look under steel targets, and it's the 45-degree static. So we don't have any reviews this week. I haven't had time to do any with just preparations for the holidays. I'll try and get a couple done ahead of time, so I have one to throw in around Christmas time, so I don't run into the same kind of bind. We do have a tech gadget or app to talk about this week, and it's actually a website that I found, and it's called Powder Hook, like gunpowder, powder and hook, like fishing hook. And it's basically like it almost looks like a Groupon or some kind of a social website for hunting and fishing trips, basically. So you can look up in your area where spots that are recorded on here as being public lands to hunt, and there might be people that are planning to hunt that spot, and so they kind of almost start a party and you can like sign up and kind of socially communicate with them and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hunt, this you know uh, DNR land or whatnot, and you can get more than one person to go and meet new hunters and fishermen. I think fishermen are a little bit more social than hunters. Well, maybe not. But I mean, as far as if it's like a sweet spot, some people don't want to share. They want to keep that secret. But this is kind of designed to, do you want to hunt and fish more? And here's some tools to do that. So you've got maps, you can make trips, you can make events, and there's some other things you can do. And the partners kind of helping fund this thing are the U.S. Sportsman's Alliance, Yamaha, Outdoor Life Magazine, Hunter Ed, the online hunter's education course, Mossy Oak, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Pass It On, and a couple other ones where I can't read because their logo is so small. The NWTF. Yeah, I'm going to skip over those other ones because I really can't read them. But it's got some really nice map functions. So it's got over 500,000 listings in all 50 states. You can create and share custom maps, and you can view boundary data for all public land. So that's really handy to be able to see what's private, what's owned, what's state land, and what's not on this. And you can kind of save those and plan a trip with your party. So you can invite buddies with just one click. You can talk about the trip in a private forum, split costs with a credit card, and upload secure photos. So it's kind of like a Facebook / Groupon for hunters and fishermen. So there's events, clubs, and outfitters. You can sell tickets to outdoor events, manage hunting clubs, and collect dues, invite and interact with customers, and search for outdoor organizations. And here's some bigger pictures. Grandview, Outdoor News, Journal Star. These are organizations that have talked about it on their shows or on their publications. So Outdoor Hub, the Silicon Prairie News, Outdoor Life Magazine, Journal Star, Grandview Outdoors News, and like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, like their newsletter.
They'll have to add the Firearms Insider on there.
Yeah, they're going to have to add us now.
Yeah.
So under Discover, you can do where to hunt, where to fish, create a listing, and then you can plan a hunting or fishing trip. So I think if you're kind of like in an area to where you want to hunt, but you don't really have anyone to go with, you don't want to do it alone, and you're kind of looking to maybe get some experience or just kind of be more social in the sport that we all love, this is a tool that's starting up that will allow you to do that. Hopefully it catches on, because that would be pretty cool. They are kind of a startup, so they don't have like a lot of people using it. I don't think. I'll have to look. I haven't signed up for it yet. You create a username and a sign in, but it looks like it's a very applicable social media avenue for us outdoorsmen. So make sure you check that out at www.powderhook.com. I think it might be something that a couple of you might be interested in.
Yeah.
So the listener feedback this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chad.
Oh, I was gonna say I didn't sign up for the Powder Hook site, but I was looking at just as you were going through it. I'm looking at it, going, I could see how this would be pretty cool, and especially with, if your hunting partners aren't like local to you, like if they live in a different, even state, you could go back and forth and figure out everything probably quite a bit easier. So I thought it was pretty cool that
or
way.
Like, you gotta visit your parents for the holidays, and you're like, man, I should be hunting, but I'm stuck visiting my in-laws. I wonder if I could sneak away for a little fishing or ice fishing or even rabbit hunting. It's not really. There's a lot of selection as far as if you want to do grouse, quail, rabbit. I'm sure there's going to be listings for squirrel hunting. So don't think of it as like, oh, it's going to be expensive and huge, like elk trips where I have to pack everything. Like, there's a huge range of just different hunts that you can set up. Even if you have some property and you have a infestation of prairie dogs or whatever, you can create an event on here and get some people to come down, and you can even charge money for it, and that'd be a way to facilitate that. So that's really cool. I wish I had property where I had that problem, but this is a nice website that I'd like to spend more time on than Facebook, because it's obviously going to be pro Second Amendment. So anything that pops up like that deserves our attention if they're going to get any traction and kind of be an alternative to Facebook or whatnot. So on to listener feedback. We've got 3 new reviews. We've got a 4-star review from J420L. He said, a wide variety of products for the firearms enthusiast. The reviews are pretty unbiased and reliable. Keep up the good work. Then we got another 4-star review from 2K4 Ranger. He said, good unbiased reviews, very good show, very unbiased reviews that go over all the details and keeps personal preference to a low. Last episode with the Taurus curve, that was kind of the exception. So he probably left this review before he heard episode 57. But he said, my only complaint is the host speaking can get a bit dull, but it's very minor, and other than that, a great and excellent podcast. That's on me. Sometimes I kind of get in a mind fog, and I'm talking, but my brain's not exactly matching up with the words coming out of my mouth. You know what I mean? So sometimes I can get a little monotone. I apologize. I'm trying to kick it up a little when I realize I'm maybe slipping into that. So I appreciate that honest feedback. I think the show's gotten a lot better since I started, like episode 7 or 8, as far as I was a lot more nervous. I'm a little bit more comfortable now. So I can only say, I can promise that it's going to get better and better as I get more familiar with talking to this giant light bright in front of me. So we get the 3rd review is a 5-star review from CWeb1015. He said, I listened to this podcast while working. Very informative and entertaining. My only gripe is reviewing items without actually having them in hand to test first. I understand this isn't always possible. Thanks, and continue to do the great work. So I think he's talking about when we do like the product spotlight and we talk about things that are coming down the pike or we don't have in our hands yet, but we're interested in and we want to talk about. I'd love to get those products in my hand firsthand before I talk about them. It just not happening right now. I'm going to go to SHOT Show this year and hopefully get some more manufacturers and companies that want to send us products to talk about and review, do some T&E, some demoing. But for the most part, when I'm putting together the show notes for the show, the very first part, that product spotlight, is things that are brand new that I maybe just read about that week. So there's just not enough time to contact that company. Ruger put out a new gun like every week this last summer for a little stretch. So it was impossible to contact Ruger and get them to send me something, even if they would, which I'm not sure they would, but it's kind of tough to do that. As far as what we review, though, in the actual panel review segment, that's all stuff that we have in our possession. I would never try and do a review on something that I don't have experience with or don't own or I'm not borrowing from somebody. So I appreciate that review. Hopefully any manufacturers that are listening, this would spark the conversation of maybe getting us some of their products to review so our listeners can know about it and hear about it. So in conclusion, this week we are plugging the Reloading Podcast promo, or we're promoting the Reloading Podcast. This is actually one of my favorite podcasts. I'm still a noob with Reloading. I've been doing it for a little over a year. I'm still very much a greenhorn. And you can always learn more with Reloading because there's so many different levels of pistol, rifle, how anal retentive are you at, measuring, the everything. So much measuring to do. So it's kind of a nice podcast to listen to. They have on there on occasion Jim Fleming. He's actually one of the admins on a huge Facebook reloading group called the Reloading Room. So Jim's been reloading for a really long time. He's really knowledgeable. That whole Facebook group is a lot of people that are brand new asking a question, someone that's been doing it for a while that hit a little bump, or someone that's just showing off their copper-colored candy that they just put together. So it's an awesome podcast to listen to. The host is Mike, great guy. So make sure if you're into reloading at all, or you're thinking about getting into reloading, I would definitely listen to their podcast, especially some of their episodes that might be about like just starting out and what press you should get and whatnot. So definitely give that a listen. www.reloadingpodcast.com. So remember to send questions, comments, or feedback, positive or negative, to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or myself, cross@firearmsradio.tv. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv/iTunes, and be sure to visit the Firearms Insider website for more reviews each week and industry coverage, and also to let me know what you want for Christmas. So yeah, thanks, Chad, for joining me this week. It was awesome having you on.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.
And it's always a pleasure. And everyone have a safe week. Stay warm, shoot safe, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bye.
I cannot get it to close. All right. See ya. That was weird.
Still shows.
Are you still here?
Yeah, it still shows live on my end.
Hi. Hi. Hi.